Hey everyone! So today we're talking about Minecraft for Violin 2, and this is going to be a breakdown video where we talk about difficult passages in the piece. So here we go. The first section of this piece is called Moderato, and it's at quarter note equals 120. The trickiest part for second violins is probably the use of the fourth finger. I really prefer the use of the fourth finger here instead of the open string because it's a quiet spot, and string changes could be quite tiring and could really sound abrupt when you're playing and trying to blend in. So try to practice your fourth finger here. It's a good opportunity for us to work on that. And always make sure to keep your fourth finger rounded and curved, just like your other fingers, leaving a healthy space between your palm and the fingerboard, and also really relaxing your wrist and bring your elbow to the inside of your body. Here's measure 1 through 4 slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. So notice how my elbow is already pretty close to my body and inside. It's not sticking out, and the reason why is that it allows us to access the fourth finger without having to move and change our body or our posture that much. The other thing to note in this moderato section is the tier dynamics. What that means is that for 4 measures, the first 4 measures, you're playing piano, but you're not getting louder or softer. As soon as you hit the next set of 4 bars, then you're going to mezzo piano, and then the next 4 bars mezzo forte, and the last 4 bars forte. So it's really a dynamic in the stepwise kind of motion and getting louder every 4 measures. So just keep that in mind when you're practicing. At measure 17 we have the march section, and now our tempo drops slightly to quarter note equals 108. And in this section, all you need to do is practice slowly with a metronome, count and breathe. Most of the rests are on beats 1 and 3, and we're pitzing on beats 2 and 4. So let's play a little bit the first 4 measures of that slowly. Here's measure 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 3, 1, 3. 1, 3. 1, 3. Be careful of your intonation at measure 27. We have C sharp, which is not in this key, and also an F natural. So back to back, those two notes may sound a little bit jarring, but we want to work on our intonation so that we can fit those inner voices into the orchestra. So let's work a little bit at measure 27 through 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So now let's move on to measure 39. Here we have a section titled Slowly, and now the quarter note BPM drops down all the way to 52. This is the slowest part of the whole piece. There's not that many difficult spots to work on, but keep in mind that there's now a key change. We have no sharps or no flats. For second violins, this means a lot of B flats, F naturals to be careful of. So let's play a little bit right at the beginning of measure 52. 1, 2, 3, 4. So at measure 51 we have our new section titled Moto, and we're back up to quarter note equals 88. This passage is relatively straightforward. Again, we have a lot of fourth fingers here to help us with our string changes, so we don't have to change strings as much, and we won't have the open A sound sticking out. Let's practice 53 slowly under tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. So notice how my elbow the whole time is pretty close to my body, my left elbow, so that I can easily access that fourth finger in measure 55 without doing too much to mess with my posture. The most difficult part is actually the beginning 2 notes in 53. If you notice, there's a pretty big string change where we're skipping the D string. Going from third finger C on the G string to first finger B on the A string. And what you want to do is practice that string change slowly. Use a lot of elbow to guide you. So remember to lower the string, the higher the elbow. The higher the string, the lower the elbow. So we're going from G string to A string, and we're skipping the D string. Do this very, very, very slowly so that you won't have any sound on a D string and you basically skip over it. Here's measure 53, the first two notes, especially in slow motion. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now let's move on to measure 63. This passage is the same exact tempo, quarter note equals 88, because it's marked l'estesso tempo. And in Italian, in our musical language, it literally translates into same tempo. So nothing really changes. The music may be different, it's a different passage, but the tempo, BPM, stays the same. One of the trickier parts of this passage is the addition of the measure 73. It's a 2/4 bar, and the 2/4 bar is a great way for composers to do something different, for them to transition into a new passage, or for them to bring something to the front. And for us players, we just have to count through it and really make sure to practice with the metronome. Measure 80 through 84 is a little bit tricky, so let's do that in slow motion. 1, 2, 3, 4. So two kind of tricky things here. One is the alternating B flat to B natural, so be aware of your intonation. The first time we encounter that is the second beat of measure 80, and that's B flat, so you want to play low 1 on the A string. And then in measure 82, the second note, we have a B natural, so that's our normal, regular first finger on our A string. The other thing again in measure 82 is our fourth finger. We're using that a lot now, and this also prevents us from having to just switch to a E string for that one note. And also for us to really lock in intonation and sound with the rest of the section. Keep in mind that the first violins here are shifting positions, so as second violins, our job is to keep our intonation, keep our sound big and solid. The last section of this piece is marked Grandioso, and this is quarter note equals 108 at measure 84. The trickiest thing here is the time signature. We have 7/4 now, and just to do a quick little recap, there's 7 beats in a measure, right? That's what the top number stands for, so how many beats in a measure, we have 7. And the bottom number 4 tells us what type of note gets the beat. So in 7/4, it means 7 quarter notes, right? 4 on the bottom, so 1/4, 7 quarter notes in a measure. Another thing to note is the marcato stroke. Marcato is a very big sound kind of stroke with a lot of full bow. So use all of your bow, don't be afraid to dig in the middle, and really make note of the bow changes, right? We want the audience to hear the bow changes, and that's what really makes a marcato stroke. So we do want to differentiate between marcato and accents, and I'll kind of show you how that's done. When you see accents, just put extra weight in the beginning and end of the note, and then that will give you both the marcato and the accent that you're looking for. Also, at the end of measure 87, there's going to be a retake comma that you see. That's almost like a breath mark for wind players, but for string players, it just means that we have to retake because we're maybe using the same bowings. And then in this case, that's true. The last half note of that measure is a down bow, but then the downbeat of the measure in the next measure is also a down bow. So we have to retake and draw a circle so that we can get back to the frog. I'll show you how that's done. So let's play measure 84 slightly under tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you also take a look at measure 86, there's a slight detail that could help all of us out a lot. The last 2 beats are in an interval of a fifth. What that means is that we're playing the same finger, third finger on the D string, and then switching to the same finger on the A string, third finger on the A string. And there are 2 options really to help us with that, and one is blocking your finger. That means placing your finger in the middle of those 2 strings without lifting so that you can play both. The other option is to lift, and that is a little bit trickier because we're changing so quickly between quarter notes, but it gives us the option to vibrate, to play vibrato if you're ready for that. So I'll do the last two beats of 86 slowly so that you can see the finger lifting action. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The last thing to talk about is 92 to the end. At 92 we have a special dynamic marking that's written piano sub, and that stands for subito, which in Italian means suddenly, a surprise. And what that means is right when we hit 92, we were all forte before that, but right when we hit the downbeat of 92, we drop down suddenly to piano. And the same thing happens in 94, but we go back up, subito, to forte. So all of a sudden quiet, all of a sudden loud, and then we have a ritornando to finish the piece. I'll be playing 92 to the end. Don't forget the very last note also to retake and play down bow at the last note and then connect so we can finish up bow. Here's 92 to the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that was our breakdown video from Minecraft Violin 2. Click over at the play along video so that we can play this whole piece together. That's it. Happy practicing.